Good morning, my neighbors!
What is up, you sexy mother hubbards? It's time for an alternative paper review. First up to the FT this morning, Thames Water pushes for higher bills, lower fines, and the right to pay dividends. Well, of course they do. You know, it's the Tory capitalist ultras' wet dream. You've got a publicly started, largely publicly funded utility company on which millions of people rely. They've got no competition. People are bent over backwards, enslaven to this company. They have to get water in, right? And since it was privatised, quality, supply, maintenance, all of it has gone down. Do you know what's come up? Sewage. Sewage is what's come up, bubbled up, out into the street, into the lakes, oceans, rivers, and maybe even your bathtub. So anyway, now we're in a situation where, you know, big water utility corporations like Thames Water that were privatised by the Tories and perpetuated by New Labour. We're in a situation where they're lobbying the government. They'll probably get what they're asking for because they'll ask it in such a way. They'll say, we need this extra money to incentivise investors to come in and put more money into the system so we can invest in the future of water in Britain. And the government, whether it's Tories or Labour, they will say, oh yeah, I guess so, yeah, that makes sense, you know. I mean, it is in a bit of a state, so yeah, let's free them up to get some more investment cash in, repair the Victorian water main. But none of it will actually go into maintenance because of the way that privatisation works. It will all go into the pockets of already rich people, while broke people are forced to, well, they'll just be bombarded with a worse and worse service year on year, as indeed they have been every year since they privatised it. Let's move on. Over to the Mirror now. Prince still doesn't get it. This is a story that Prince Andrew has been leading a procession of the royal family into the Godfather's funeral that some of them attended, I believe yesterday, or was it the day before? And it's sort of dismay, you know? It's gobsmackingly outrageous that a guy who is heavily suspected of having paid internationally trafficked children to have sex with him out of the public purse. I mean, I know it's like the Queen's money, but it's de facto, it's our money, right? Paid her off with like 15 million. That's the only reason he wasn't sued for, you know, I don't know, double that, 3 times that. But the guy, he's won, basically, hasn't he? He should just take his winnings and just go and live in Bermuda or something. But the breadth and depth of entitlement to these people where they're like, no, I'm still a prince, yeah. No, I just want to go back to my old life, cutting ribbons and being clapped as I walk on stage in a new leisure centre in Exeter. God, I hate him. May his days be long and his life short. From a raging nonce-burger to a raging racist now. The Daily Express says, I'm not racist. Lee Anderson says he speaks for the Tory faithful. Which in a way I suppose he does. You know, he doesn't speak for the people. We know that because the polls are heavily in favour of Labour, even in Anderson's own constituency. But he probably does speak for the Tory faithful. You know, the card-carrying members of the Conservative Party. The ones who still identify as Tories in spite of the rhetoric of people like Suella Braverman. You know, if you haven't been turned off by Braverman, if you haven't been turned off by all this talk of no-go areas and disparaging Sadiq Khan based on basically his cultural background. If you haven't been turned off by that and you're still holding your Conservative Party membership card, probably Lee Anderson does speak for you. Over on the front page of the Mail, it's a royal tragedy, one which we must employ the greatest of sensitivities and sympathies that we can muster. Which, you know I sound a little bit sarky when I say stuff like that, but underneath this cold-hearted and snarkastic veneer, I am feeling, you know, a little bit sorry for these guys. Because I think whenever you see a relatively young man, he was 45, I believe, kind of drop dead, you know, sudden death of this very junior royal, it does lead you to feel like quite vulnerable yourself. Like, I'm 43, I'm literally sat here reading this news story, I'm like, so have I only got like 2 years left in me? You know, it does make you think, are there things I should have said by now, got out in the open, verbalised, vocalised, that have remained a little bit ambiguous until now? So, you know, just in case I do drop dead at 45, I just want to make it really clear right now how I feel about something. Motherfuck the Tories! It is a bit weird, though, isn't it? It's not just me, is it? Having 2/3 of a front page dedicated to the sudden death of somebody none of us have ever heard of. You know, is this all it takes now for the Tory right royalist PR machine to kick in is the death of somebody who is vaguely... Are we going to get 12 days of mourning coverage for this? But anyway, yes, sensitivity and sympathies and thoughts and prayers to all those affected. Finally, to the Times, who lead with, "You've made your point, now end the protests," says James Cleverly. Which, I have to say, I do quite like this. I like the just brazen balls on the table element of it, you know? James Cleverly goes, you made your point, we get it, we understand. Can you rein in the protests now? Oh, yeah, so are you gonna take action? No. I mean, the idea that anyone's going to stop doing something because James Cleverly tells them to. Like, James, if you really wanted to silence a few people, you should try spiking their drinks.